talked a lot about Guts and Blackpowder on this channel, but for some reason, I've never talked about the lore of the game. Unfortunately, Guts and Blackpowder lore has been done to death, and I really don't want to regurgitate information to you for 15 to 20 minutes. So how about we do something a little more specific? The creatures who give the game its difficulty and premise. The Blight. Yeah, just a heads up, this is my first time doing a lore video like this, so... Unfortunately, I can't just talk about the Blight lore, so we have to talk a little bit about the beginning of the GMB timeline. First of all, from 1806 to 1812, Russia was fighting in the Russo-Turkish War, not to be confused with the other 11 Russo-Turkish wars. They eventually won before having to go back home in 1812 to stop Napoleon from invading. Now, for where the GMB lore comes in, during this Russo-Turkish War, some Russian soldiers picked up a small disease with a high mortality rate. You probably never heard of it before, something called the Blight. Yeah, that's right. The Blight originated in Turkey, where this whole zombie infection doesn't really kick off until after the burning of Moscow, which was done by the Russians themselves. Now, with so many men dying in Russia, over 200,000 to 300,000 of them, hell itself was getting a little too full. So now, any soldiers who died would now just have their souls trapped in their bodies, reanimating to consume their comrades. Now, you may have noticed that little asterisk. That's because in Guts and Blackpowder, if you're Christian, and Christian only, you're perfectly fine from the Blights. It's also why priests can't get infected, because they're already saved. Now, the events of Berezina start canonically the first map of the timeline. Now, I'm not going to go through all the maps in their order, but here's a low-quality image of the timeline of Guts and Blackpowder. We're not going to bring up any other maps, except a tiny little detail of Vardo's Fortress. Now for the zombies themselves. This is the very first stage of the Blights, where you got turned into a zombie probably just a couple seconds ago, and now you're like a runner, but with twice as much health. Don't quote me on that. Now, there's no official lore section on these guys on the wiki, as they just came out along with the new Roscoff update. Oh yeah, and they can also throw up on people to spread infection. Now let's move on to the next stage of the Blight. For those who have been infected for a couple days now, this is your life. You're constantly twitching and standing there with a permanent red glow in your eyes. You can be taken out with pretty much anything. You are weak, but you are fast. Faster than the soldiers that may have known you before you were infected. Also, according to the wiki for Vardo, a runner was found frozen and still undead. Make of that what you will. But let's say you haven't been killed by a simple punch, then you'll become the common shambler. So you've been infected for a few months, eh? Well, now you're just a regular zombie. Shamblers are just your standard zombie. What else can I say? They're slower and a bit more durable than the previous phase. They follow crowds and are only really a threat in said crowds. They can scratch or bite you, causing infection to start on the player. Oh yeah, and some have been dead for up to 10 years. And this is kind of the end phase for infecteds. Except you can become some specialized infecteds. These guys suck. Mostly in-game. Their lore is actually kind of interesting. So they're dead logisticians who became infected by the Blight. Now, because of this little thing called rigor mortis, where dead people have their joints and muscles stiffened after death, the bombers are unable to drop these giant barrels of gunpowder and forever hold a torch in their hand, at least until they get near a player and purposely light the barrel and drop their torch. How they do this is anybody's guess. Same with how they even got those barrels and torches in their hands in the first place. These guys just hold lamps and have burns. Like, that's it. The wiki page's lore for them is only a sentence long. Our last zombie enlist, and they have no lore. Ugh. Okay, so fun fact, while it is true that any player, other than priests, that gets infected will turn into a viable runner, it's a bit different for sappers, who become zappers. Get it? Zappers is just sapper with a Z for zombie? Anyways. Now, I was a little bit confused because if viral runners are the first stage of infection, then how do zappers pass through this step? So I asked the creator of GMB, Fezzison, about this. Turns out there's no reason, and it's just a gameplay mechanic. Now, while sometimes it is good to just accept that some things are for the sake of gameplay, but I want to propose my own theory. Wait, theory? Hello, Internet! Welcome back to Park Theory. Today, we're going to be proposing a theory of how the sappers are able to become zappers instead of viral runners. And, yeah, I can't keep doing this voice anymore. So, yeah, I got a little theory. Not a very good one, but the reason that sappers have a different beginning to infection than other people might be because of the size and strength of sappers. Now, sappers were chosen because of their size and physical strength, so they could hold all their tools and weapons. Now, perhaps these physical traits of sappers have some unintended side effect, where they keep these traits after becoming infected, and perhaps that rigor mortis from earlier plays a part in how they keep their axe in hand. Then their equipment and axe is slowing them down, and their strength makes them have a higher health. I don't know, that's just a theory. A park theory! Yeah, this is a bit different than the other videos I've done, and I'm kinda new to these lore videos, so yeah. The Blight and different zombies that Guts of Blackpowder is very interesting, and makes the game unique, even if, not all the zombies are their most original ideas. So yeah, thanks for watching, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. I have a YouTube membership if you want to join, and I swear I'll make something for it eventually. I also have a Discord if you want to get updates on progress on future videos. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.